Morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Good to see you all. Thought I'd jump on because yesterday was my birthday. Thank you very much for everyone who sent me messages, texts, rang. I had a bit of a day in the library because exams are coming up, and that's what needs to happen during this time of year. Exams are in 2 weeks, so just got to smash out some revision, some SWOT, get some facts inside my brain. So been smashing that out. It's pretty good. Yesterday I also went to a startup meetup lunch. That was awesome. Good to see the crew, and at the end of the day, got to see some mates that were visiting. And just happened to be in town. So caught up with them. Pretty good birthday overall. Did some work, did some meetings, some caught up with mates. Everything is good in the world. But I hit the big 3-0. So some people think this is over the hill. Some people think this is just getting started with life, whatever your mindset is. Whenever you hit these decade moments, it's hard not to think through what has been and what's going on, what the theme is going to be moving forward. So I suppose each decade has been a little different for me. My first decade, I was a kid running around, just growing up, doing my thing. So that 0 to 10, it was sort of a write-off, just doing kid things. And then from 10 to 20, that one, I suppose, is just digging a little more into the personality side of things, becoming comfortable in my own skin, finding what makes me tick and what makes me vibe and why I'm into and all that jazz. From 20 to 30, I suppose this is when I started making personal decisions. And I suppose at a macro level, this is what I did. I just thought, okay, what could be cool? I'll just dive into that and I'll see what comes of the opportunity. Don't know if it will be good or not, but let's just try a bunch of different stuff. And I did, and I've worked in so many different environments. It's crazy looking back on it. I've worked in the public sector, the private sector, small to medium sized businesses, not really super large businesses. I haven't worked in corporate as such, but I've worked in a bunch of different teams, high-level teams. I've worked in high-performing teams. That's been pretty cool in different realms, whether that's in sport, in business, in startup world. So, yeah, I've jumped around a lot and I've learned heaps and I've gained a bunch of different skills. And I went real wide with my 20s. I just thought, okay, this is the time to do it. I'm going to go real wide, try a bunch of different stuff, and see what happens. And it's been a wicked ride, an awesome adventure. But there's been a change of thinking a little bit. I think in my 20s, I said yes to everything. Yes. Like I just dived into it. If someone offered an opportunity, I thought of the cool stuff that could happen through that opportunity, and I said yes. So I worked in music festivals. I've had experience with the military now. I've worked. I've volunteered on ambulances. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked just a bunch of different stuff. I've worked in startups at management level. I've worked in businesses. I've worked I suppose at management level. I've organized sports events. I've done a bunch of stuff, and it's been super cool. I've really enjoyed it. But now, I suppose the shift of thinking is to try and think a little more strategically moving forward in my 30s. So rather than saying yes to everything, I'm going to say no to a lot and then yes to things that will actually move the dial. It will actually get me to where I want to be in 10 years' time. And I suppose all of the stuff I did in my 20s did move the dial a little bit. But I guess it was more of an exploration phase. Now it's more of a strategic phase where I get stuff done. I work on things without necessarily getting paid because the payoff might be better in the future. It might create more impact, or I can actually execute in the areas that I want to. So I suppose that's our macro level. I hope that I can build some cool businesses in my 30s, or start to build them. That I think I'm starting to get to that level where I can actually think through the steps they'll take to actually to create something. So I suppose, whereas I was more in a consumption phase in my 20s, or I was more of an employee level thinking in my 20s. Now I actually want to build businesses and start employing people, get people to jump on board with the vision, get people involved in projects. That's where my thinking is now in my 30s, and hopefully those businesses become sustainable. You never quite know when you first start them, but I think with this new phase, new decade, new start, new way of thinking, that's the strategy moving forward. So there's a lot there. That's I'm excited to head into the dirty 30s. I think that it'll be quite a time of growth for me personally, and also a time of growth for different projects that I'll be involved with. Super excited. It'll be I suppose 20s. It's a bit 20s is a bit like being in a jungle. You're thrown in the deep end. You're finally an adult, whatever that means, and you have to figure stuff out for yourself. And you navigate your way around, and you try your best to put your best foot forward, and sometimes you do well, sometimes you slip. 30s, you've just got a little bit more now. So you've been around for a bit longer. You know how things work a little bit more. You understand people. You know who you are a little bit more. And so you're just able to achieve a little bit more. You can actually execute on ideas that you have, rather than being tentative about what might happen, or whether you'll get chewed out and spat out the other end. I think the 30s is, I suppose, it's when you start creating stuff off your own steam, rather than working in someone else's project. So that's my thought for the day. Dirty 30s, excited for them, real pumped. It's going to be a great decade. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and they said that in your 20s you peak and all the rest of it, and I was like, nah. I reckon you peak, like, imagine you have all the resources that you need because you've been working for like 30 years. That's like 3 whole decades. You've got these networks because you've been alive for that long. You actually know a lot of people and know a lot of good humans that get stuff done, and you can rely on them, and you can call them up for favors and whatnot, and you have a lot of that sort of side sorted. So, like, I thought, as time goes on, I think life gets more epic because you can actually do more stuff, and you know more people, and you can think on that higher level. So yeah, I definitely don't think 20s is the peak. I think it's like foundation setting, and I think I've still got a little bit more foundation setting to go. I haven't finished that phase quite yet, but when you finish a decade, these thoughts start going through your head, and you start thinking what you want out of life. So that's me. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Pumped for my 30s. Everyone keeps asking me, "Oh, it's your birthday, Jace. How old are you?" And I tell them, "How old do you think I am?" And they always punt lower. Maybe they want to compliment me. Maybe it's just because they don't want to toe the line. But I always, it's a fun little game to play with people. But that's all from me. That's my thinking on the macro. Excited for the 30s. It's going to be an epic decade. Can't wait what's to come. Anyway, that's all from me. Have an epic weekend, everyone. Hopefully I can all catch you up soon. Awesome. Peace.